Hey, Frank. Happy Halloween. You want to talk about guitars today? Okay, we can do that. Welcome back, YouTube faithful, to the Guitar Dungeon. We're going to set Frank aside here. Oh, take it easy, man. Just watch the show. Anyway, we could talk about guitars. All day long we could talk about guitars. But what I think a lot of people have been questioning, and things that I've been hearing through comments and, just general, like message boards online is, what is the difference between Gibson and Epiphone, right? Because everything you see, and you always get all these people out there on like their, all the, reverb.com and the marketplaces or whatever that always have things out there saying Epiphone, which is made by Gibson. And that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of things to kind of weed through there. It's Epiphone has Gibson's licensing, so they can make the same body styles and use Gibson hardware, but they're not Gibson, and vice versa. Epiphone is not Gibson as much as Gibson is not Epiphone. They are two separate companies, but they're affiliated. Make sense? I don't know. It gets confusing, right? Essentially, Epiphone stuff that you get out there is licensed by Gibson, so they can use all the same specs. They can dip into the hardware. They can do pretty much anything they want at a more affordable price. They outsource cross seas and, I don't know, can give you the comparable to Gibson for less. You know what I mean? So I've got a few lined up here. I have a fascination for SGs, and I thought, what a perfect time to do it, because SGs, to me, are just a little touch creepy, because they got our neat little devil horns on them, and it is my my number one guitars. Those are my favorites. I have a fascination with SGs. A lot of it also comes from the players that play them. I have that, draw to people out there like Angus Young and Tony Iommi and Robbie Krieger and, many SG players. Like, seriously, you could go on forever and talk about SGs. Like, Eric Clapton in the mix there, and Jimi Hendrix had one. And, everybody's played an SG at some point in time, right? But, anyway, let me show you some differences, because behind me here I have four. We have two Gibsons and two Epiphones. And I thought, what a good time that we can show you some differences, what we're looking at, right? So, anyway, let's go with, we will start with this one. This is a Epiphone SG. This is a classic. This is their absolute, probably bottom of the line, without getting into the SG Specials or the Maestro brand, which is another one that also is licensed by Gibson, that are, you usually find those at Walmart. They're pretty rough. Anyway, this one is kind of bottom of the line. These retail for, I think it's like $179. You will find these made in China. The first things that you notice right off the bat is the weight. They're kind of lightweight guitars. They're not 100% guaranteed as mahogany. You see this beautiful walnut finish to it, right? And it has a nice finish on it and looks really nice. But what makes me question, as soon as you get into the side, you notice that wood grain just vanishes, right? So that tells me that this may have a walnut cap to it and may look nice, but what are we talking under there? What are we dealing with? Plywood, or what's the deal? Another thing that I noticed on these is the fretboard literally bumps right into that pickup. It creeps right up on it. Like I said, these are the lower end of the spectrum. Within saying that, they are still good guitars. They have a great sound to it. They're not going to be real precision. I'll say, at the sake of making this video too long, so hopefully people watch it, but we'll give a little touch. I'm going to run. Oh, that's noisy. We'll give you some distorted. like I said, you're not going to have a lot of precision sound and style with these. But in saying that, I've had a lot of people online ask me if this would be a good guitar for grunge or punk. It's like Epiphone designed this for grunge or punk. So, yes, they are good. But like I said, they are on the lower end. We'll kick that off for a minute because, wow. But, like I said, it's a really nice guitar. It still feels like an SG. It plays well like an SG. The necks still fit the same profile as, pretty much anything else you can pick up off the shelves. But these are lower end, right? Now, within Epiphone, of singing the praises of that, you kick it up a notch. You get one of the mid-range ones, and you get into the SG Classics, right? This will hold its weight against any Gibson. These are awesome. They're a few more, spin out. I think these are pushing about the $400 range, typically. Again, this is a made in China special, right? But you have, the mahogany that is actual mahogany through and through. It's got nice P90 pickups in it, which actually are licensed by Gibson. Weight-wise and playability, playing is similar to that, but it feels like the neck's a little bit thinner on it. And sounds fantastic, right? Like, I love this guitar. I'll give you just a quick taste of it with the same distortion. Sounds great, plays great, easy to play, lightweight. This, you take it on stage, you're playing for 4 hours, it doesn't wear you out. Love Epiphone. One other thing I want to point out on this one. Notice that gap. Remember what I said about the other one? Where the fretboard bumps right up against that pickup? This has that same gap. This model, the next up stage of Epiphones, actually are following Gibson specs exactly, right? I know that because as I get into getting into the Gibsons, right? We can pull this up. This is a Gibson. It's a 2007 Gibson SG Menace. This is probably my go-to number one guitar, right? Again, you have that spacing, the same spacing as over here with the bridge and your tailpiece on there. That is close to the same spec as the cheapest Epiphone, but it is off a little bit. I measured previously because, I don't know, I'm a guitar nerd, so here we are. But these specs are in line with the higher-end Epiphone SGs, okay? But this is straight out of Gibson. This is, straight up. You can't see it at all because it's all black, but made in USA. It has a serial number across the back like it's supposed to. This actually has burst bucker pickups in it, which run a little bit hotter than everything else. And what's funny about it is that I will play the same riff that I've been playing through the past two, because I want to keep that same continuity, right? But this one, when you throw something at this and you expect a certain tone, it delivers. 100% every time. It is on point. It plays great. It sounds great. It's just a great guitar. It is a beautiful guitar. It's a good sounding guitar. And like I said, this thing is a beast, man. I've played this thing for years and never let me down. So, just throwing that out there. Now let's step into the top of the line, right? Which, getting into this one, now we're talking about the... Oh, get my straps situated here. Now you're talking about the Gibson SG Modern. This actually has a, full pots on it and stuff. You can actually convert the pickups from, the standard humbucker in there to when you pull them out like that, it turns them into P90s. I don't know if y'all knew that, but that's how that works. This is one of the, without going into custom shop Gibsons, this is top of the line. So, in comparing with an Epiphone, again, what's funny is, when I said the spacings on the other one, getting into this one, boom, there it is. Look, you got it right up to the pickup, right? But if anybody can count, you'll notice that those are not 22 frets. That's a 24 fret neck, and that's why it touches. Whereas that one doesn't have that luxury. So I don't know the reasoning behind that, but it's just one of those quirky things that you kind of notice. It meets the same scale and everything's fine, but it just seems like everything's kind of shorter on that one. So, I don't know. Maybe that's how they save money. They cut back on wood. I don't know. Anyway, Gibson SG Modern is, for one, look at that finish. Oh my God, it's gorgeous, right? This is a beautiful guitar to begin with. Playability-wise is like butter. I mean, we will step on this the same as what we did with others. Let's see, I'll give you that sound. The old adage, you get what you pay for, unfortunately, true. This guitar absolutely kicks ass. Everything about it. Anything I want to throw at guitar. It plays great. Like I said, anything you throw at it is on it. It's going to give you the tone that you're looking for, and whatever amp you're running through, you can pretty much dial in the sound that you're after. Right? I mean, it is a joy to play. That is the main difference between the Epiphone and Gibson. I know that sounds kind of messed up. When I say that's the main joy between the two of them, but Epiphone is like, it'll get you there, right? You pick one of those up and you start playing with it, and I mean, it does the job. It'll get you the sound that you're after. You can dial it in. You can, I don't know. Take them in studio. You can record with them. You can play out live. Do whatever, which I do. I play the green one over here. Is probably one of my top 3 guitars that I'll drag out with me out to shows. It sounds great, plays great. It is a nice guitar, but when it comes down to, if I'm going in the studio, I'm dragging the Gibsons with me. They, like I said, that adage of you get what you pay for. This one is a pleasure to play. Like, seriously, I'm going to stop the video here and sit down here and play for probably another hour or so. Like, this just is fun to play because of that responsiveness, man. As soon as you, go after a note, man, it's there. It gives you the sound you're after all the time. It's got that force to it. It has that clarity in the pickups. That's the big difference between Gibson and Epiphone, in my opinion. And I do have to state, it's my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm some guitar guru or master luthier or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm a player. I go out, I grab guitars, I say, that looks nice, it sounds good, I'd like to take that with me on the road. I want to get it out there and play my music through these guitars. And, you pick your arsenal, and that's what you use. The sound that I want our fans to hear is going to come rolling through these. Like I said, Epiphone makes a great product, and honestly, in the most recent years, they have stepped up their game substantially. Where in the early 2000s area, was it that early? Probably early 2010s area, right? We're talking within the last 12 years. Gibson's quality actually tanked out a little bit. But in the course of them going that way, Epiphone went this way. So within that time period, you find some really quality Epiphones and some, kind of not up to par Gibsons. So it's like that trade-off was crazy, honestly, because you're paying a lot for a Gibson and you're not paying as much for an Epiphone, but they're actually a better quality Epiphone than they were Gibsons. Well, through time, now that has shifted again, and Gibson has regained their steps, and they found their stride again, and now they're making very quality instruments. So I recommend anybody, if you've got the money and you really are after that tone and that playability, man, save up, do what you got to do, get the Gibsons instead of the Epiphones. Not trying to knock Epiphone in saying that, it's just, if you're at that stage where you're saying, I want to kick it up that next level, I want this type of quality into what I'm putting out there, and you're torn between getting a couple of Epiphones that have different, pickup capabilities, or if you say, you know what, I could, invest into one solid, sturdy Gibson that'll get me there, that's your route. So, in other words, I just wanted to bring up, between these four here, there are a lot of differences. There's a lot of similarities, but there are differences between Epiphone and Gibson. It's not the hype, and it's not that, Epiphone is a rip-off of Gibson or anything like that. They are licensed by Gibson, and you'll get good quality instruments out of them with Gibson hardware and Gibson specs. But you're going to go from Epiphone, which essentially, even the highest end Epiphones are still going to be those cookie cutter guitars. They're going to be cranked out on an assembly line. They met a certain spec, and they just crank them out, drop some pickups in them, and ship them out. Some of them they get right, some of them, not so well. Gibsons are still being handmade in Nashville, Tennessee. So you actually have luthiers working on those things. They have set specs for their instruments, but you have that hand touch on them, and I swear that when you pick them up and play them, you can hear the difference. So hopefully this video has been some help to everybody. Anybody that's been torn between what is the difference between Epiphone and Gibson, because they look the same, do they play the same, they sound the same? No. There are differences, right? So, like I said, hopefully this is some helpful to somebody out there that, is torn on, well, should I just get a cheap Epiphone, or should I save up and get a nice Gibson or whatever? Hopefully this helps. So, until next time, I do recommend to, like, share, subscribe, do whatever. Throw it out there. We'll keep things going. There's, as things become available, I'll review them and I'll put them out here to help out all of the playing musicians out there. So until next time, support your local music, absolutely, and peace out. Till next time, thanks.